Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Samuel Pedrick in Kerbal Space Program. We're starting off our Orbital Construction video set. As you can see, I am using a mech jub. I am using it with autopilot. I don't care. The premise behind the Orbital Construction video set is that when you have a larger vessel, like let's say the Messiah from Deep Impact. I know that's a reference most people won't get. But if you have the Messiah from Deep Impact, and you want it to build it, but you don't want to have to calculate in the fuel it's going to take to get there, or to get it up into orbit. Well, to be able to do that, looks like I can't change that. All right, hold on one second. So, to be able to launch that into space, you have to do quite a lot of work, and that can just be. I mean, the whole purpose is to have fun, right, guys? Well, I mean, my biggest issue is that you shouldn't have to, or the biggest point behind this video is getting something up into space takes a lot of effort, so might as well have it launched in space for yourself, right? So that's the premise behind this series, is launching satellites, launching stuff in orbit rather than launching them on the ground and then getting them up into space. As you just saw, the remote tech, it's just going to be a lot of fun. That's what I'm hoping for. And depending on the number of views that I get for this video, depends on if I continue the videos or not. So why don't we just get this bird up in the air? So some of the mods that I'm using that I can name right off the bat are the KW rocketry, infinite robotics, the remote tech, this wonderful mod that allows compartments. That's fun. AIES is another mod that I'm running. The Cosmos pack, which there's only a couple of things that I like from the Cosmos. I might just get rid of most of it. But the only other things that I can think of to tell you right now is that I am building my own parts as well. For instance, on smaller satellites, I had done a compartment which could barely hold anything. I think it was able to hold one remote tech receiver, and that was it. I am doing a robotic arm for a space shuttle. The space shuttle I was able to download from the Kerbal forums. It is a very, very nice model. It's a Mark II model. I'd have to go back and look to see who made it, and I can point you in that direction. But so I'm going to do a robotic arm for that, and the only parts, when I say robotic arm, I mean it's just parts that go in between it. Then I'll probably end up doing parts for the Orbital Construction Station itself, like a new berthing for the ships and everything like that. Some extendable docking ports, and probably a couple other things. Right now, I'm launching my second Geo-Stationary satellite. It'll be in orbit, allowing communication from any side of the planet to ComSat 1, then down to Kerbal Space Center. As you can see, there's an old space station that's called Old Space Station in orbit. It is a small ISS style station that will be coming down as soon as we get some crew sections up for the orbital construction platform, which I need to come up with a nice fancy name for. So if you guys have any suggestions, just let me know. But right now we're launching our second SATCOM, ComSat, whatever you want to call it. So that way we have that communication all over the place, and nobody's bitching about not being able to talk to each other. This communications network will also allow anybody who's on the moon or farther out to be able to communicate with us. There's obviously going to probably have to be a relay between Kerbal and everywhere else, but you know, as long as there's able to be communication between the planets after we are able to launch some of our ships into space. Alright, so as you just saw, I just did all my deploying of my fairings. I'm going to extend out my wonderful those. The solar panels are extending now, and then as soon as I get those extended, we go over here and we start extending these bad girls out. Alright, there she is, ComSat 2, and there she is now linked up with ComSat 1, hopefully. Let's go and take a look. Yep, linked up to ComSat 1, which means that as soon as we get into our stable 2.5 million meter orbit, we will still have connection to the ground if we get out of range of the KSC. Also, attached to the satellite, I have some RCS thrusters that are from the B9 pack. The B9 pack itself is amazing. I was finding that I wasn't using much of the stuff in the pack, so I deleted most of it. I think the only thing I kept were the RCS thrusters and the RCS radial tanks, which I'm not even using on this model because that's an RCS thrust or an RCS fuel tank right there. But anyway, so if you guys have any design ideas, any ideas in general for this series, please let me know, and I'll try and work on it and see what I can get going. I'm going to talk to the people that did the extraplanetary mod, or extraplanetary launch pads mod, which I am using for my base to be able to do the construction in space. And I'm going to talk to them and see if I can get them to work with me to see how they got it to where they can build something. So that way I can create a new custom part as a docking port for the ships that are built. So this video is a lot like some of the other videos that are out there. If you haven't already checked them out, the Bob Fitch videos for the ISS replica, the KSS, his videos are amazing. Scott Manley does some really good videos. There are a ton of good videos for Kerbal Space Program out there, and this series is based slightly around the ISS series and the Space Tourism series from Scott Manley, in the sense of I want to have a purpose behind it. So being able to construct things in space, that is a big purpose. it's an amazing purpose, and it's something that I'm going to be working towards on this. I might actually end up making my own compartments, very similar to these ones, except these ones are only about, I'd say, maybe half a meter tall. I'm going to do mine a little bit taller, and then the opening form is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to make it to where you can store solar panels and stuff inside of them, and then, you know, deploy them open and then deploy the solar panels, so that way you're not accidentally losing your solar panels in the atmosphere or whatnot if you accidentally trigger it. But yeah, so if you have any suggestions, let me know. And like I said, depending on how many views I get, depends on if I continue this series or not. So yes, I decided that I was going to connect ComSat 2 to ComSat 1 prior to launching, because I was afraid that if I had launched it and waited to get around to try to get a stable orbit, the satellite was going to end up plummeting back down to Kerbin, and that would not have been fun. That would have been a waste of very good satellite parts. So now we have our node in T-minus 1 hour, 4 minutes, and so on and so forth. And thank God for the mech jub, because that's a lot of waiting. But another reason why that I enjoy doing the mech jub is that it makes sure that there's at least one point in my orbit that is maintained with the other satellites that I'm going to be putting up as my base, as my base set for communication. So now now it's expanding. I've got more than enough fuel. Like I said, those extra fuel tanks those radial fuel tanks that I modded were definitely helpful on that situation. Alright, we now have a stable orbit. I'm going to speed it up a little bit so that way I can get a larger orbit on it, or a larger distance between ComSat 1 and ComSat 2. Not to mention, as soon as I launch ComSat 3, I want to make sure there's enough space. Alright, so we are on the dark side of the moon, and we are running out of electricity. Or the dark side of the planet, and we're running out of electricity. So I'm just going to speed it up until we get to where we need to be. And on the right side of the planet. You just, don't want to be on the wrong side of the planet. Or maybe I'm just not going to have that particular... I should have just tried it when I had the chance, because now I'm screwing myself. Alright, so I'm trying to get it back right where it was, because that's where I'm just going to leave it. Alright, ladies and gents, this is where I'm leaving it. It's just really dark on this side. Alright, detached the fuel pod And now I'm hopefully going to have enough energy to get me to my orbital period of 6 hours. And that, if you don't know already, is the orbital period of Kerbin. So having an orbital period of 6 hours means that it'll be stationary, and then we're good to go. Coming up on our orbital period of 6 hours now. Okay, so we have our orbit of 6 hours now. And I will put ComSat-2 probe down, which the reason why it says ComSat-2 probe is because there is a remote tech on it, so that way I can pretty much bring it back down to Kerbin. So now I want to get into the sunlight. And don't mind that weird little glitch. Okay, so now that we're in the sunlight and we're getting sun, I want to angle us to be able to get better sun. Well, you know what? I think that should be fine. Just turn off the reaction wheel. Well, maybe not. Alright, that should be good right there. Now we just have to fix our orbital time. Alright, so it looks like orbital period is perfect. Now, let's just double check. Well, obviously that was showing a little wonky, but it shows that it's still connected to the ground, even though it is nowhere near the site of the ground. So it's connected through ComSat 1, which is perfect. So the orbital period is perfect. Obviously the orbits are a little off, but I mean, what can you really do there? I'm not going to worry about it because I think it's perfect. As long as it's within the 6 hours, it's at the 6 hour orbital period, I don't care what the orientation looks like. Alright, that's it for me for now. It's coming up on 19 minutes. I just wanted to keep this under 20. Like I said, if you guys enjoy this, like it, and then depending on how many views I get, I'll start another set of videos. Alright, stay safe, guys.